Hello and welcome to another day on Cornwall Pocket Farm, where I try and figure out how to live sustainably on 300 square metres in the city. Today we're in the garden. It is supposed to rain tomorrow, but it's dry this afternoon, so I want to get out and finish those last 3 beds. You'll see from the last video where I left off, I did 1 bed and it took me ages. I've got 3 more to do, but I think what I'll do is just do a bit of a tidy up. I've also got a large delivery of grass from my neighbour. He has a large lawn and obviously a lawnmower, and he mows his verge, you know, the bit of council land outside your property before the road. He mows his, and he also very kindly mows ours because we don't have a lawnmower. And then what I do is I take all those lawn clippings from his lawn and both the berms, and I use that on my garden. So I have a huge delivery of grass because with the rain we've got a lot of grass growing. So it's good for my garden. I put it on as mulch and it rots down and it's more organic matter, so it works really well. But I've got to get that all around my beds, and to do that I need to clear the weeds and tidy it up so I can get in there. So that's the job for today. When I'm doing tidying in the garden, I generally have 3 containers. So I have this one, this little one, which is for rubbish. When I'm going through the garden, quite often I'll find bits of plastic or bits of rubbish. Occasionally I'll find bits of stone, things that I don't want in the garden will go in here. This one here, I use the middle one. This one I use if I'm harvesting anything. So quite often when I go through here I'll find edible things that I'm pulling out. So in here will be stuff that'll get washed and go into the kitchen. And then this bucket is for the weeds, the actual weeds that I'm pulling out and sorting out. So I have the 3, and that seems to work quite well for me. As I say, with the tomatoes, I've just let them do their own thing, so I'm not side shooting anymore. I'm not taking out the suckers, and what's happening is that they're just dying off. The leaves that they don't need, they're just dying off. So I'm just clearing those really at the moment. Anyway, I'll bring you back once I've done all of the clearing of the tomato leaves. Okay, so I have cleared all the dead leaves off the tomatoes and it's looking a lot better, and I've taken out anything that's dead, but they're still going. I mean, it's amazing. All the side shoots, we're still having tomatoes. It's quite amazing. Now I'm going to go through and just do some weeding on the bed, and then I'm going to put some grass around. But it's getting late in the day. It's starting to spit. And Maggie desperately wants to go for a walk, but I need to get this done. Okay, so, it's a long job. Anyway, I have weeded everything, and I don't know if you can see behind me. I'll move this way. You can see behind me I've mulched, deep mulched all of that bed with grass just to keep the weeds suppressed and also just to keep the moisture in the soil. But I have been amazed at how dry the top of the soil is. After all that rain we've had, it's only taken maybe a week and a half. It's quite damp lower down, but in the top sort of couple of inches it's really quite dry. So hopefully that mulch on the ground will hold in the moisture that's there, and we are expecting some rain, I think, tomorrow. But the plants seem to be doing okay. They are recovering a little bit from their mildew, rust, sort of damp, mouldy type of diseases. The tomatoes are still going. Amazingly enough, they've taken secondary shoots, they're flowering, they're just going for all they're worth. So it's looking good. It's actually looking like a really good tomato year. Bizarre to say so, but we haven't done a lot in a short time, but we've done a lot over a very long period, and hopefully that will continue. So yeah, all good. 1 more bed down. I thought I would take you along to the op shops. I'm ostensibly going down to -10. I need a broom for the outside. It's autumn already and all the leaves are starting to fall, and I need a broom to sweep them up. My outside broom is too strong and picks up the hogging, so I just want a lightweight broom. So I'm going down to check out -10 for that, and I also want a pot of paint, a little pot of cream, a little test pot, I think. The new pots that I got, that I showed you last week actually, 2 small round ones and a really large square one, a smaller square one, and another couple of little terracotta ones. The 2 round ones I think would look really nice outside, just outside my front door here, and to blend in with it, it sort of needs to be sort of a little bit more cream, a little bit like the big pots that I've got the lemons in. And I looked on YouTube and I found that you could sort of do a bit of a wash. If you get some paint and really put a lot of water in with it, you can sort of wash the pots with that, and it can sort of look a little bit more of that sort of rustic French look. So that's what I'm going for. I think you smear it with mud and green stuff after that. So, you know, it's a bit of an experiment, but, you know, why not? They look very new and very orange at the moment, and they're a bit too much for my front door. So that's the plan. So I've got to do that as well, and the op shops are on the way. So I thought I'd take you with me. Actually, I looked in the shed and it seems we have some, I've got to watch where I'm going. It seems we have some test pots left over from when we were testing out colours for the fence and for the house, so I don't need paint. So that's a win. Loads of success today, absolutely loads. So the question is, can I carry this home? I have a huge bag from the op shop, I bought plants of course, and I have a broom and a handbag. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of a hard walk home, but we'll get there. See you at home. As you can see, it's another day today, different dress. Oh, and I should just show you, this is a dress that I made from a little remnant. I'll do a twirl. This was 0.9 I think of a metre of fabric, and I managed to squeeze a dress out of it, and the trim came from an op shop, and so did the little rose here. So yeah, it's a hacked vintage pattern. The top came from an old vintage pattern that I got from an op shop, and then the skirt I just made up to make the best use of the fabric. Anyway, seeing as we're on a sewing jag, I will show you the patterns that I got. So every now and again I come across some patterns that I like, and they sell them for 50 cents or $1 depending on where you get them from. So I've got a few shirt patterns this time. So I don't know if this is going to focus. Is this going to focus? Maybe. So I've got a shirt pattern, McCall's M7575. I got a butterick pattern. Is that focusing? Yeah. So that was butterick 3642. I got an old style pattern, which, if you can see, looks a bit weird in the front, looks a bit 80s styled, but on the back, I don't know if you can see it, so just a raglan shirt waisted dress, and that's a style 3826. And then I also picked up this simplicity pattern, various shirts, 8416. And then I also picked up this knit and stretch pattern. I don't know if these were just a New Zealand thing, but that's, I don't even know, oh yeah, 110B, but I thought that might be quite an interesting stretch pattern. So sometimes I use these for inspiration. Sometimes I'll take a sleeve off one of them and join them in with a skirt from something else, or, you know, not directly, obviously that would look a very, very weird item of clothing, but yeah, you get the idea. I either take a piece of it, or sometimes I'll try the whole thing if I particularly like it. So those are my sewing patterns, and with a craft theme. I got this fabric. This one I got from Vinnie's, and it was $6 for 1.6 meters by 2.6 meters. And I think it's rather nice, sort of, what would you call it? Check? Houndstooth? Tartan? I don't know, but rather nice. So I was quite pleased with that. I'm not quite sure if it's what the fabric is made of. I'll probably do a burn test just to see. If you take a few threads of the fabric and just sort of light it with a match, if it's synthetic, it will sort of melt into a little sort of bobble, and it'll be sort of hard when it's blown out and cooled. If it's wool, it'll have a sort of a funny smell, and if it's a mix of two, it'll have both of those things. But anyway, I really like it, and for $6, can't go past that. Still with the crafting theme, I found this book. It's $4. Where did I get this from? I can't remember where I got this from now. Oh, I know, I got this one from the SPCA. So I was quite pleased with that. So patterns from the 30s to the 80s, and they have, it's quite funny actually, because they've restyled it for the 80s, and they look appalling, but the original vintage pattern looks really nice. This is the vintage pattern down here, which looks really nice, and then the main picture is so 80s. Look at that hair, isn't that wonderful? I used to have hair like that. But there's some nice patterns in there, so I was quite pleased with that book. And then, of course, the ubiquitous plastic box. Remember, I collect plastic boxes. In my last video, I told you about how I collect plastic boxes for my freezer. And I have a couple of holes left that are this shape. Hardly been used, I would say. So yeah, $3, and that will go into my freezer, which is brilliant. But the main thing that I found, look at this. It's a ring light. And I thought, this is perfect for my YouTube videos. Sometimes the light is not the best, and it's a bit of a challenge. And of course, I didn't have any sort of specific lights to do the videoing with. And it's on a really nice tripod. It's incredibly tall. It goes up a long way. I'm probably going to do it out of shot, yeah. And there's another one as well, so it goes even more than, it just goes really high, and it's quite a nice tripod and a ring light. And we had it on, I turned it on last night. It's a USB connector, so I found a USB plug and turned it on last night, and it has different colors. It has a yellow light, a blue light. I'm talking about the temperature of the light, not that it's actually blue, but the light is bluer or yellower, a warmer light and a cooler light, or just a very clear, bright daylight, which is a white light. And you can make it go brighter and less bright. So really, really pleased with that. $15. So very, very impressed with that. And then of course I did get the broom. So this is my broom here. You can quite see it. I looked online for a second-hand one. I looked in op shops to see if they had anything. And really it's not something that turns up second-hand. So I had to bite the bullet and buy a new one. So this is what this is. I got it from Mitre 10. It was $19.95, I think. So hopefully that'll do the job and last a decent amount of time, I hope. And on top of that, I just got a new tarragon from their garden centre, because my tarragon unfortunately died this year with all the rain. I think it's quite a Mediterranean sort of heat-loving plant, and it just died. So I've got a replacement for that, and I also got a little punnet of flowers just to put around my pots. So yeah, that was my haul. So I did really well in the op shops, and I just thought I'd share that with you.